I am here to discuss the so-called flying saucers.
We know now that in the early years of the 20th century, this world was being watched closely by intelligences greater than man's.
Did the CIA write Wind of Change by the Scorpions?
As humans busied themselves about the various concerns, they were scrutinized and studied.
Dr. Loeb, what percentage chance do you give it that you have indeed uncovered extraterrestrial or non-human technology?
With infinite complacence, people went about their affairs, yet across an immense ethereal gulf, intellects vast and unsympathetic drew their plans against us.
All of a sudden, a stick out of nowhere landed right in front of us, and there was no tree, nothing overhead. Something threw it at us.
Yeah.
All things unexplained.
So some of that, I think, sir, will save for closed session.
Hello, all you unexplained ones. Thank you for joining us. My name is CJ Derringer. I am here with my co-hosts, Dr. Tim Mounds and Smitty Neves. We are so grateful to each and every one of you for joining us for this very special episode. We're going to have some fun tonight. While you are joining us, please do go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead, like, share. We have the men from the brand new series on the History Channel. The Proof is Out There, Military Mysteries, Ronnie Adkins and Rudy Reyes. Say hello, fellas. Oh, my God, Rudy, did you take your shirt off?
Hello.
Well, of course he did. It's Rudy Reyes. Are you kidding? Of course he took his shirt off.
Camera's rolling, baby. It's time.
Okay. Whew. All right. Here we go. We're going to refocus here. Rudy took his shirt off while we were...
Not possible. It's too late for focus.
Well, to be honest, and Ronnie will tell you this, while we're shooting, we're in studio, and we've got so many lights on us, and of course we're dressed, like set dressed by analysts somewhere in the ethers about, what's the right look, what's the right color, what's the patina. And we're hot as all get out. We are sweating our freaking tushes off and cooking under the lights, and makeup's coming in to freaking take the shine off our face. So I've got these two lights on me, and I'm telling you, it's getting hot.
Okay. Whatever it takes. Whatever.
They had him in a big wool. They had him in like a big wool sweater too. He's just sweating, just dripping.
I know.
Smitty, if you decide to follow suit, we're going to make history. We're going to make television history.
Brother.
I've thought about ripping my shirt off, but I guess I'll keep it on right
Get
now.
after it. Do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brother, you're in a safe space.
My wife,
Space, brother.
my wife wouldn't leave me alone if I did. So,
And
I love it.
and of course, Alien Girl is here now.
That is a whole nother show. Wow. All right. Well, here I was just going to say that the content of your guys' show on the History Channel is pretty serious, but I'm so glad we
Wait a
can
minute.
see your true personalities coming
Did
through.
somebody bring up a birthday?
Is it Ronnie's birthday?
That's not. No, it's not my birthday, guys. Stop. This is a running joke and they won't stop. I can't get them to stop. It is not
Tell
my
me,
birthday.
brother. Tell me, brother.
It's just one day in one of my live shows over on the Funker 530 platform, somebody happened to say happy birthday. It was nowhere near my birthday, and that has persisted for 2 years now. No matter what I do, I get a happy birthday, and I knew that was coming.
Oh, that's awesome, brother.
I just
That's
knew
awesome.
it was coming.
Absolutely.
Well, every day is a fucking. Oh, excuse me. Every day is a celebration for you, brother, Ronnie. And by the way, I love this Ronnie Adkins because he's the next generation. He's a bit younger than me, but by no means a young man because he served his country and got an incredible wit and brain about him and real experience. I love seeing this happen. We are bringing up a new generation of veteran talent that really has a boots on the ground and an authentic experience in which they can talk from, they can speak from, and that's what Ronnie does. It's interesting to be real with you all. I feel like I'm Ronnie's co-host. Like I learned on the ropes with this man. He's incredible out there, and I'm learning things, and I'm getting better, and I love to be involved with this project. So it's really an honor to be here.
Awesome.
Yeah,
And it
thanks
is a
for
great
having us.
project. Yes, absolutely. Thank you guys for coming on. So right after our podcast tonight, this new series will premiere on the History Channel. And Ronnie, tell us a little bit about your backstory. How did you get involved with this show?
Well, so
Are you going to tell them about the screen test? You got to tell them about the screen test, brother.
So the way this kind of came to fruition for me, first and foremost, there are a lot of really amazing people that are involved with this. Rudy and I are kind of just the tip of that iceberg, right? So our job to a certain extent is the easy part. So, I want to make sure first that we're acknowledging all of the work that went into it. But going back, there's about 2 years worth of work that's gone into this at this point.
Yeah.
They found a video of me that I actually put together to argue with one of my coworkers at Funker about whether or not pirate cannons always used exploding ordnance, right? Cannonballs more often than not didn't explode. They were actually round shot. It was solid. So I made that video specifically to argue Josh, because he was telling me at the time, no, they were all exploding. Well, History actually found that video, called me up and said, hey, we'd like you to be an expert on the show. And I said, okay, yeah, that sounds awesome. I got another call right before we're about to get on an anniversary cruise. My wife and I didn't have a honeymoon. So we had saved up for our 10-year anniversary. We were going to go on a cruise. And they said, we might want you to host. We need you to do a screen meeting. So I'm sitting on the cruise and I've got a shirt really not unlike this one on. I've got my hamburger meat hanging out. Well, I'm sunburnt using the ship's Wi-Fi, and Rudy and I are arguing, purposefully over a Russian submarine. So that's how I ended up doing this whole screen test with Rudy, and he and I just kicked it off, right? We're two sides of the same coin. Fast forward to now, and here we are. New show.
Here you are.
I had been through maybe 3 screen tests with 3 other solid cats and pros in the entertainment business, However, when Ronnie came on, after I was done with that screen test, I reached out to Miguel Sancho, and I said, this is the guy. This is the guy. And they said, well, we feel the same way. And Ronnie has a bit more experience in this format. And believe it or not, you guys are into the podcast space. There's skills and ability and rehearsals involved with being really good at communicating, live on camera. Ronnie had some great experience. He freaking helped me along on some of the things that we were doing. And I just kept a super positive attitude, because they're long days, and I just couldn't be happier. I'm so happy that this is finally out. It's been a long time coming. This is almost 2 years ago, I think we shot, right, Ronnie?
Yep. Yeah, it's been a while.
2 years ago. And you know what? I'm already hearing vibes from people high up at History Channel that they love what they're seeing, and if these numbers are good, for sure there's more coming after this season. So, yeah, it's great to be here, y'all.
Yes, it's a fantastic show. So I got to watch the screener, which I feel very lucky to have done. And one thing that I noticed was in the first episode, you guys cover several military mysteries, not just one. I was expecting one mystery that we would dive into, several. And I started thinking, if we can cover this many mysteries in episode 1, how many mysteries are there in the military? How much research did you guys have to do?
There's a lot. There's a lot.
There's so much. And just as military men, Ronnie and I were talking offline about so many things that we were privy to and or we knew a brother that was privy to. And we barely scratched the surface with this first season. There's so much to uncover, because the very nature of military is warfare. And warfare, if you look at Sun Tzu, you're going to blend, hide, and deceive. You're going to be weak when the enemy imagines you're strong. You're going to be strong when they imagine that you're weak. It's all subterfuge. It's all mystery. It's all cloak and dagger. To be honest, it's all cloak and dagger.
And CJ, we have our first super chat in here from listener Battle Chemist, who I think Ronnie and Rudy Perhaps no, to some degree. Battle Chemist says on our first super chat of the night, Rudy, have you ever played a video game and made your character look like Ronnie the way Ronnie has made his characters look like you? Interesting question.
Answer
Well,
truthfully.
Okay, well, the truth is I'm very close to Activision. And since my character Reyes has been out on Call of Duty, when they reach out to me again for new talent, the Ronnie operator needs to be out there. And Ronnie, it's not easy work. Ronnie, it's not easy work, dog. You're going to be out there for 5 days doing a rad photo shoot, and you'll be out in the field. But then they're going to put you in the globe. They're going to put you in the globe, and with 700 cameras capturing your likeness and making the 3D image. And it's a long few days of work. But yeah, Ronnie, I can't wait till you're an operator on Call of Duty.
So I don't want anything to do with that. I remember the photo shoot we did for history, and Rudy's trying to coach me from the sideline, and I'm trying to channel my inner Zoolander, because I don't know what I'm doing.
So
Rudy's just everybody's cheerleader from the sidelines, and I'm just like, what?
Yes.
Do I look okay?
You do good. I said, take your angle, Ronnie. Ronnie, take your angle, baby. Take your angle. Remember, I told you, take your angle.
Look at his arm. His arm is the size of the screen.
It's huge.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I had a listener question I proposed before you got here, Rudy, but I can't do it yet because just like that piano bar I used to go to on Bourbon Street that practiced musical prostitution, we have a new higher bid on our super chat. It's just like the old bucket used to throw stuff in next to the piano from listener Robbie Turner.
Okay.
He says he wants to know, Robbie wants to know, this show has a ton of potential. I'm not sure if he means All Things Unexplained or Military Mysteries.
Oh,
I'm
you
gonna
mean this show?
I'm gonna say
Are
both.
you talking about our show
Yeah.
right here, brother?
To grow into a long-term series. I still don't know which one he's talking about. Just think about it. War has been going on for thousands of years. So much content possibilities here. Tune in and watch. Thank you so much, Robbie Turner, for that amazing super chat. Rudy or Ronnie, either one of you want to respond
Ronnie,
to
you
that?
start, brother. You start. Robbie.
Well, Robbie, first off, thanks for being here, and he's right, and that's kind of what Rudy was getting at earlier, and that's kind of where the background with the Funker 530 crew comes in. That's where my background comes in, Rudy's background. Rudy and I are looking at this, I mentioned earlier, from two sides of the same coin. I have a very high level, 20,000 foot perspective. I'm a mile long and an inch deep when it comes to a lot of topics that I can speak to at a very kind of almost surface level. Typically, it's a little bit deeper than that. But Rudy brings the on ground perspective here, right? So he is the guy that has kicked in the doors, that has snaked through the grass. And looking at each one of these that you're going to see tonight, we really did come at it from those two perspectives. When it comes to the longevity of the show, I have seen the Excel spreadsheet of just the first salvo of research that was done. What they ended up doing is breaking that out into a subset for Rudy and I to take a look at, to redline, add our own thoughts to. There are a massive amount of stories that we'd be able to cover, and that's what Robbie is speaking to here. War never changes. It's always going to be around. It has been used as a problem solver since the beginning of man, and with that are going to come questions that need to get answered. And I think as we continue down this path of transparency and knowledge, people are going to want to see more of that. And that's probably how I would respond. Is there is so much that we can do, to grow what we've started here. I get really excited thinking about the possibilities.
Yeah, me too, brother. That's it. You nailed it, Ronnie. You nailed it, brother. As American men who were passionately and patriotically driven to join the service, to fight for a cause bigger than ourselves, to fight in a unit and in a Marine Corps, in an Army that is nameless and faceless, but stands for duty, stands for courage, stands for commitment to each other. That's the kind of people that Ronnie and I are, and we represent so many veterans because we've been in a global war on terror just in our generations for 20 plus years. It's a passion project. Combat, believe it or not, is a passionate and emotional space. We have to be trained and conditioned to be analytical because that's what gives us the edge. But when the chips are down, you love the men and women next to you. You trust the men and women that are gassing up your Jerv or your up-armored Humvee. You trust the men and women that are loading on the munitions on the fast movers or the rotary wing. And we were all committed to something so much bigger than ourselves. It's hard to call that a science. It's hard to call that data. There's an emotional space there. I say a spiritual space there. And in that space, it's endless. So there's many places we can go with the show.
It feels like in the show, you guys are really passionate about these stories that you're talking about. For example, in episode number 1, there's a story about a World War II plane that is found over a decade later. And what you're talking about, Rudy, about trusting the people that you're with, they talk about these journals that they were writing in as they were walking and trying to make it as far as they can. How do you separate sort of your experiences, your emotional experiences with what you did in war, what have you, with the stories that you're telling on the show?
And can we hold that thought 1 second?
Yes.
Let's get right back to that, because we had a slight art mishap when we first started promoting this show. And Rudy, aka Ronnie, speculated about what the other one, what type of, if he had his silkies on, and CJ and I had a
Are
conversation.
you ready? How did you know? How did you know? Of course I got the silkies on. How did you know?
We have listener Battle Chemist to thank for this super chat. What color of silkies is Ron wearing tonight? And there it was, folks.
These
I
are
think-
black multicam. That's the color of silkies. I like them. I like them.
That was not planned. I would like everybody to know
I
that we
wasn't
did
planned
not
either.
plan that.
I was going to call it Hellfire from Above Black.
Oh, I love it. Fantastic. I'm rocking my Sunga life. So these silkies, they're a bit more robust. And most importantly, Ronnie, they got a drawstring. So if you want to jump in the pool and
super
swim,
important. Yeah.
yes, I got a drawstring on
Or
those.
just let them
So
fall off.
let's-
Just let them fall off. Yeah. Whatever.
National Lampoon's Vacation worked for Clark Griswold.
Yeah.
I mean, they just fell off.
It's
What
getting
can you
crazy.
do?
It's getting crazy. It's getting crazy.
Just went
You
for a
remember
midnight
that face?
swim.
It's getting crazy. It's getting crazy.
Just go back
It's
to
getting
bed,
crazy.
kids.
So I'm going to answer Marissa's question real quick, since she's family. To me, it says we're very used to seeing a very serious Rudy on Special Forces. I don't know where he went. Will he bring that same intensity to this show, or will we see a different side?
Ronnie, what do you think, brother? I think we're really, because the subject matter is so heavy, and we are talking about men and women that have put their lives on the line, not just our country, but others too. We take it so freaking seriously. We take it so seriously to show the respect and the honor. What do you think, bro?
Absolutely. So I think there's a range of emotions actually. Rudy and I, if you can't tell, Rudy and I get along like peas and carrots, right? It's just,
That's right.
super easy. So there's times when that humor does shine through because there's a humor aspect to anybody that's been in the military. It's actually, just to be very serious about it, considered a coping mechanism, if you will.
Yeah, that's right.
But when
That's
it
right.
comes to some of these stories that we're talking about real sacrifice. We're talking about specific to the World War II plane that went down and wasn't found until 10 years later. The stories of these lives of American pilots as they tried to survive. We're talking about, just tonight, the only pilot to be shot down by enemy fire in the Gulf War. That necessitates a very serious review of the data at hand. It necessitates bringing in experts that can really speak to it. Because again, Rudy and I are really just there as almost point men, if you will.
Yeah, well said.
It's important.
Well said,
It's
bro.
important for people to understand that we brought in historians, weapons experts, other Green Beret veterans, folks from
retired
within the
lieutenant
veteran
colonels.
community.
That's right.
To really dive into context and nuance to this. I think there's a range of emotions across the season, but even inside of each episode, there's 6 mysteries per episode. We actually do a cool little segment on interesting weapons So I think those will be really fun for a lot of folks. But there's a lot of data that gets compressed and distilled into each one of these episodes.
Ronnie, remember when this mission in particular about the World War II plane that went down in Alaska, I believe it was in Alaska. I talked to you about Roger Sparks, my mentor, my recon legend that raised me up, that then became the highest decorated pararescueman in pararescue in the Air Force. He was on a mission in Alaska, and I don't know what brought him there, because he was in the Alaska National Guard pararescue attachment, and he found a kneecap. Well, he saw something shiny, and he got closer, and they're at altitude, and it's somebody's kneecap, and they eventually worked through this detritus of a crash, and they found notebooks and DNA, in which finally the grandchildren and great-grandchildren of these heroes could understand what happened to their great-grandfathers, and it gave peace to the
closure.
Family. Yes, I mean, it's incredible.
Closure.
The show's incredible. The subject matter is as deep and as timeless as is mankind, and that's something that we take very seriously on the show.
Well, rumor has it that we have talked about aliens and UFOs a few times on this show, and listener Stephen Derringer might have caught wind of that. Thank you so much for the super chat from Stephen Derringer. He said, Rudy's Daisy Dukes, clearly an alien's worst nightmare.
That's right, Ronnie. That's right. They're going down, baby.
They're a dream for me, but yeah, sure, they can be an alien's worst nightmare if you like. That's fine.
And I can't help but think of one of our favorite quotes. That reminds me of one of our favorite quotes on this show.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick.
That's right. That's right.
And I'm all
out of bubblegum.
What can you do? What can you do, folks?
Right.
I love that.
We have another super chat from listener John Costello. What would Rudy and or Ronnie like to discuss as an episode of for season 2 if they get to pick the topic? That's a great question.
Ronnie, you start and then I'll come after you, because I got some
Okay.
stuff from the Soviet Union that I want to talk about.
Well, that's where I was going to go. We do
Okay, go ahead.
we cover such a wide range of stuff, right? I'll give you some examples. We cover some of our, what I would consider to be current adversaries' propaganda as it compares to our own, right? It's important to remember that propaganda is typically used in a negative context or connotation, but it's actually a very important part of war, right? An important part of war is deceiving the enemy. All war is deception. So we're covering so much right now that it's really difficult to pinpoint something very specific that we would, want to cover. In addition, there is one story. There's one story that actually ebbs a little bit into the paranormal, I think, which isn't really something we cover a whole lot. Might be right up you guys' alley, though. And that is the giants in Afghanistan.
I knew it.
I just recently read about
we were talking about that in our prep for the show. I knew it.
I'm sorry, it's not in there. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you now. But goodness gracious, do I want to put the experts on it?
Ronnie, check it out. Our military expert, Mr. J, had already prepped us. What's your take on the tale of U.S. Special Forces versus a giant in Kandahar? I did not type that in just now. That asked CJ. That was already there way before the show started.
It was.
Yep.
Ronnie, if I could take this.
Yeah.
I have been to Kandahar. I took me and my guys with a ragtag group in 2001 of Australian SAS, pararescue, recon, SEALs, SEAL Team 6, and some nebulous triple letter agency guys. It was about 100 fighters. It was only 100 fighters of us, and we took Kandahar. I did witness and was on the battlefield where the monkey bars were. Maybe in the old days, Ronnie, when you were a little kid or a young man.
I would have been a little kid, actually. Yeah,
Yeah,
so it's fine.
They were swinging on the monkey bars. And my team took Johnny Walker Lind, took control of Johnny Walker Lind, the American Taliban. I didn't know it was Johnny Walker Lind because he looked like Mujahideen, big beard, really tan. We wounded him. We took control of him, and after we put him in a Connex box, I heard somebody saying, "Oh, I'm so hungry," and I thought it was one of my teammates because I was a junior guy. I was a corporal back then in 2001. I thought it was one of my teammates around the Connex box saying, "Oh, I'm so hungry." I couldn't put it in my mind that it's the guy in the enemy prisoner of war speaking in English, that he's hungry. And then I finally open up the door, and he's like, do you have any food? I'm like, what is going on? I didn't think anything of it. I shut the door, locked the damn Connex box until some other guys came over, some other really cool looking dudes that look like Ronnie and I now. I was a younger man back then. They had fucking facial hair, cool ass weapons. They were awesome. And they took over. I wouldn't find out till 13, 14 months later when I came home that was Johnny Walker Lind. In Kandahar, in 2001, I never saw a giant. Biggest giant there was the United States of America and our allies freaking
I'm just saying, there's a lot of people that saw
through.
giants in Afghanistan, according to them. It's a thing. It's a thing.
Okay,
and
when was this, Ronnie? When was this, brother?
That's the thing is I haven't spent enough time like looking into this. I know that if you go and you Google, the giants of Afghanistan, or what is it, Nephilim? No, how do you pronounce that? Pronunciation.
Oh, now you're talking biblical stuff.
Yeah, Nephilim.
Yes. If you Google that, you're going to get a ton of results. And somebody brought it up to me a couple weeks ago, and they were like, "Are you covering this?" And I was like, "No, I've never even heard of that." I looked it up, and I was like, "Holy crap!"
Okay.
But that's the balance, actually, right? And it's important to talk about because the stuff that we are covering, not to detract from the possibility of it being real, but the stuff that we are covering has a lot of real life gravity to it. These are real pilots. These are real bioweapons that go awry. These are real situations that we're trying to answer questions surrounding them. This starts to get a little bit into more of the I wouldn't say paranormal, but a little bit out there. But I still think there are enough United States service members that are saying, "Hey, we saw that it might be something to look at." Just saying.
Sounds like something we definitely need to dive into, if not on your show, then on our show. As a reminder, The Proof is Out There, Military Mysteries comes on tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern. And we have another question for you here from Battle Chemist Rudy and Ron. Which mystery moved you the most, whether that be anger, sadness, hope, etc.? So we'll start with you, Rudy. Which one from your show?
It's so interesting. And remember, we worked on this and we shot out of sequence, which made it even more raw for what we were doing, because every mission that we worked on, Ronnie and I did, it was our first mission. Every mission you see on the TV is our first mission. And we bring that gravitas and that passion. But it's Scott Spiker, because that's in our backyard that I've been fighting in, and that we've been at war for the last 20 years in Iraq, and I've been in Syria. I fought alongside Jordanians, and I know some of that terrain better than I know my backyard. And to know a brother, Lieutenant Colonel, that he was a young man. It's funny, Ronnie, I think he's younger than you. You know what I mean? When he was shot down, a young man with a family, giving his all and fighting hard, was shot down. And at first they were saying it was from surface to air, but indeed his wingman said it was air to air. And we were so caught up with and in inertia with the Gulf War, we didn't have time to think about the individuals. And there's a SEER component here, a survival, evasion, resistance, and escape component. And in SEER school, we're taught to leave sign. Even if we die, we're taught to leave sign in the hope that our brothers, either Americans or the British or the Australians, will mount a rescue mission. And we believe, I'll speak for Ronnie and I, we believe the man survived and was moved, and he did just that. He left his initials. He was able to put his DNA on the walls. This is why if you're captured, you will use your blood or your mucus or whatever and touch whatever you can just to give sign. And the story went back and forth because politics were involved in America, and they wanted to forget the war as we got a new administration in, and Ronnie and I can definitely relate to that. And Lieutenant Colonel Scott Spiker was kind of forgotten until our war on terror, when we found evidence that he indeed did not die on impact or did not die in the sky. So that moved me very, very much.
Yeah, that was a wild story. And that's one that's shared in the first episode of this series. And I think, Tim, it's probably a time that we show a teaser for this series.
Yeah, let's do it. Before I put that up, thank you to listener Multimedium Arts for the super chat down there. We appreciate everybody that's here. Please make sure to support the show. You can do that by hitting the subscribe button. You can like, you can comment, you can share. Thanks, everybody. Here is a promo for the exciting episode of Military Mysteries tonight, right after the show on the History Channel. Here we go.
Intelligence analyst. I'm Rudy Reyes, recon Marine War veteran. Our mission, investigate the battlefield's strangest images, sounds, and come up with answers.
The proof is out there. Military Mysteries premieres Monday, April 22nd at 10. Part of History's Strange and Unusual, only on the History Channel.
Hell yeah.
Heck yeah, we can't wait. And I think that Smitty has another super chat for you guys. Smitty, here's our next super chat. Let me find it. This is from listener Barb Hyam Bornson.
It says the secret, and thank you for your question. Secret military blasted under mountain, Sedona, Arizona. Where were they taken? Thanks from Barb in Prescott, Arizona.
Shout out to Barb from Stranger Things. Go ahead, guys.
Well, I'll take that one, and it's not that I'm gonna take it because I have an answer for you, but I think what's pertinent about Barb's question here, and thank you for engaging with the show and giving us stuff to talk about. That's important. What's really important to draw from that is the body of material that's available for us to continue working the show. Right? That's not something I'm familiar with out of the gate, but that's something that it sounds, just based on face value here, like we would want to cover. And I think that's, not to be that guy to ask for this, but ultimately the way this all works is folks have to watch it live. Not everybody has, cable these days. There's a lot of, it's neither here nor there, but the more folks that watch it live, the better the opportunity is for us to grow it, improve it, continue it, cover, more things that have questions around them that need answering. Right? That's the way.
Well said, brother. Yeah, well said, brother. Listen up, audience. Tell everybody you know. Tell all your friends, your family. Tell everybody. Listen, this is a legit show with legit teams that care about uncovering the truth, who have all been passionately invested in warfare and in history. And you're exactly right, Ronnie. Man, there's so much. Something just rang off in my head. One of my brothers in my world, in the special operations world, in the 90s, inserted, I can't say too much, but inserted via nuclear submarine to combat dive and then combat swim patrol into an area in which France was doing their very first nuclear testing for nuclear weapons. This is in the 90s, mid-90s, and a brother of mine, somebody really close to me, he was on that team. And that's how the information, years later, got to the world that France was a nuclear power. And if that's just one brother, from one little community that has that insight. And there's so many things, and there's so many great units out there, mini units, and I'd like you to talk about this later, Ronnie, in World War II, mini units that don't get a lot of regalia and
not a lot of credit,
or not a lot of credit, or they're not on the posters, but they've done amazing things for our country. And this happened in the 90s. And we've been documenting war with film and audio for 70, 80, almost 90 years now. So there's so much to mine here.
That was one thing that was amazing to me about this series, is how much video and audio there is from some of these incidents from a long time ago. I mean, who owns this material? Where is it coming from?
Well, I'll probably field that one. So, you know, I've mentioned the name Funker 530 for a little while, right? You know, Funker's mission and ultimately the basis of me coming on board as a part of this is to document and archive footage like the type that we'll be looking at tonight. Imagine, we used to send, Rudy referenced this a moment ago, or, you know, he mentioned it. We used to send Hollywood directors into World War II. And
John Huston, that's right.
What they would typically bring out was something that was meant for a propaganda reel, something to say, rah, rah, let's get after it. But there's footage in between that. That's the reality that's on the ground, right? And that's what we're after at Funker. There's the hard stuff. And that's really the tip of the iceberg that we're starting to look at here. You're going to find this footage in, you know, private compilations all over the place. You're going to find it on Reddit. You're going to find it on Twitter. You're going to find it in Telegram. You're going to find this stuff in somebody's closet that has old, like, I don't know, 16 millimeter reels of something that's just never been touched in a while. But as that stuff comes to light, who is out there that's compiling it, that's archiving it, that's making this archive of footage that we can reference back to for training purposes, for understanding, for, you know, growth as we continue again down the path towards knowledge and transparency of what war's reality really is. So, you know, I mentioned a spreadsheet earlier. I can tell you that there is an overwhelming bulk of that is pulled from, you know, our archive. There's over 10,000 videos that we have there of combat footage out in the wild. But there's so much of it that was lost that's still being found, right? You again, those Hollywood directors went there and they pulled this stuff out of theater, out of a combat zone, and they cut out the rah-rah parts. But what happened to the in-betweens?
Right.
That's the stuff
This
that we
show,
want to cover.
This show's about the in-betweens, isn't it, brother? It really is. That's what we do, you and I, as the point men, and leading story and leading audience into the in-betweens, to ask the questions and hopefully come up with some answers. You're exactly right, Ronnie.
So we've got another super chat here. This kind of crosses our wheelhouse, but I'm curious to know your guys' thoughts on this as well. We've had lots of conversations on this show, all things unexplained about UFOs, but the question comes from Multimedium Arts. Do you think that it is possible that the UFOs are us humans in the future sending probes back in time?
Do you guys like Interstellar? Do you like the film Interstellar?
Love it. It's my favorite movie.
It too. I love it
movie.
too.
I mean, it's okay.
Yeah. I love it. I love that. Christopher Nolan.
He's the best.
I just watched his Prestige again the other day. If you've not watched the Prestige, Jackman and Christian Bale, absolutely magnificent. It could be.
Movie.
It could be. I don't know what is a human. What?
Rudy's getting a little bit deep on us here.
Yeah,
taking us.
We found our next guest co-host.
Yeah, you know, like dang. Sometimes I feel. Well, okay. So this morning, Ronnie, I just met with the creator and owner and host of Strike Force, Bellator.
Oh, hell yeah. Nice.
Brother, the dude is super legit. Mr. Chow. And I saw him today at the Starbucks without his suit on. So I knew there was something about him. But I didn't, and then I figured out who he is. We were having a meeting with some tactical dudes and martial art dudes, and we're trying to put something together that I'm definitely going to get you involved in, Ronnie, with Hoist and some great guys. And then we were talking about fighters, and we were talking about eras. And I thought today, Ronnie, as I was doing my push-ups before I came onto this thing, the difference between a major difference that we forget from my generation and this modern generation, we did not have the technology to track, to collect, and to reflect in the way that we do now. So we were very in the present moment, and much of the in-betweens were lost. We've been in a satellite freaking 24/7 news feed / warfare community now almost 20 years. That's changed people's the way they think, the way they process. There's things that are happening and changing. Oh my gosh, Ronnie and I, we didn't deal with an enemy that was using drones against us. We used drones, and those drones were $50 million pieces of equipment. And things are just elevating and escalating so fast. I don't know where we're going, but I believe that when we come back to our roots of community, of strength through discipline, and the camaraderie and love that we have for each other, we're going to be okay. Whether it's aliens or Russians or Chinese, we're going to be okay. That's what I believe.
Always forward.
Yeah.
I mean, if Rudy and Ronnie are protecting us,
that's right.
We're gonna be okay.
That's right. Ronnie's a hell of a shooter, by the way. Have you seen any of his videos?
If you're not moving forward, you're backing up.
That's right. He's a hell of a shooter.
Serviceable.
My man is amazing.
Serviceable shooter. You know, Rudy, you lead, I'll follow. Let's go.
Oh, thank you, brother. You got it anytime.
Amazing. Well, we have to make sure that we get in everything that we can before we send everybody to the History Channel in 14 minutes, which is when your show starts. Do you guys have a launch party tonight? Are you watching with anybody special?
What are you doing, Ronnie?
Well, I've just got my small family here. You know, I should say small. We just welcomed another to the family, so it's just my wife, my 3 kids, and I, 2 dogs, 3 cats. Probably start up a Twitter thread or something to laugh at how dorky I look on the TV, because it's, you know,
I've seen
cool.
some good memes with your hands.
I am the aliens guy. I did the aliens meme.
I saw that, brother.
I did not say in this military mystery was aliens, but it was aliens. All right, let's get that straight.
Ronnie, that guy reached out to me. That guy.
What? George Tsoukalakis?
On my social media.
Oh my goodness.
Really loving our stuff.
That's awesome.
Ancient Aliens is putting our stuff out there.
Yeah.
Ancient Aliens is putting our stuff out there. I know.
Listen, if you're in with George Tsoukalakis, you have made it. I mean, that's just
fun story from the set. I don't know what I'm doing. Right, and it's like a Ricky Bobby meme. You know, I'm like, I'm not sure what to do with my hands right now. I have briefed, you know, entire rooms full of people as an intel guy. It's kind of your function to relay information, to distill information and relay it. But when it comes to, you know, doing it on camera, it's a little bit different. I run my own cameras in my studios, just a little bit off. Well, I talk with my hands. Right. And at one point, the head shed, the decision makers, they came down to watch us film. And I'm talking with my hands, and it's actually in this episode. It's right out of the gate. And I did this gesture like this. And from the back of the room, I can hear the head shed yelling, "It looks like you're holding a brick. Stop moving your hand."
Oh, brother.
So now, when they shared the first episode, I was like, oh, no, it made it into the final cut, dude. Anyway, I just figured I'd share a fun little story about literally the photo that got shared around, and the aliens guy, you know, I don't know.
It was awesome, brother.
Here we are.
Awesome. It was
I was going to ask Rudy a question.
Yes.
Do you push the earth down when you do push-ups? I'm just curious.
You know what? I'll tell you what. Chuck Norris has got a problem with me, y'all. Chuck Norris got a problem with me because, you know, he's afraid that his Chuck Norris books might get pushed to the side because they're coming Rudy Reyes books.
Well,
You know what I'm
I've
saying?
been sitting here thinking you look like Chuck Norris literally the whole time.
He's a gangster to work out with, man. Rudy is tough to keep up with. Yes.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Well, I know Chuck Norris's people, and I went and did some training with him and his people. They are wonderful. And if you don't know Chuck Norris, Army Air Corps Air Force, when it was kind of blending into what we know as the Air Force, he was a real full contact fighter. He's a real tough guy. And most importantly, because Ronnie's a martial artist too, he's a heck of a fighter. The martial arts keep us young. It'll keep us young. I think Chuck is in his 80s now, and he's still freaking fired up. And that's what we're going for.
He just posted something not too long ago of him getting after it. It was kind of wild.
Yeah, brother.
I go,
Yeah,
that's Walker, Texas Ranger for me, man.
Oh,
That's
come on. That's
yeah.
Lone Wolf McQuade. That's Lone Wolf McQuade, brother. Oh.
Yeah. He goes back to the 80s for me, so.
Oh, for sure. That Lone Wolf McQuade. And you know what? He's never been. Now, that's Ronnie's a hell of a better actor than Chuck Norris. But Chuck Norris never been no kind of actor. But I hope that, you know, myself, newer generation, Ronnie, new generation, we're learning from this. And you all are interesting in this podcast space. You guys are learning entertainment and how to be natural and to be natural to communicate. And that's the hardest thing in television or film. It's the hardest thing. And you guys are doing a freaking bang up job.
You're probably the only
Thanks.
person that's ever publicly just dissed on Chuck Norris and got away with it.
And nobody's gonna question it, not even a little bit. We're just like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yes, you.
Brother.
That's
I was
Rudy
just
Reyes.
expecting-
So
Thank you,
okay.
brother. And Ronnie, you know I can still kick high. I can still kick high, baby.
He can too.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
can kick
he's
high.
in his 50s. We went up to do like this nice, great workout together. You know, I box as a hobby. I'm in great shape, especially for my age.
You
And
are,
I'm not
brother.
young.
You are,
I'm 34, right? I am young, but you know, across the grand scheme, Rudy's in his 50s. And we're like 45 minutes into this high intensity, and I mean high intensity workout. And we're both halfway throwing up at the end of it, and we're each looking at each other to see
we are the whole
if the
time.
other one's sucking as bad as the other is. But it still wasn't even because I'm 20 years his
brother,
junior.
That's very kind of you.
It's
I thought your leaping knees to chest were a little bit tighter than mine, even though it's given everything.
I got a little bit of spring to me, you know. We're good.
I admired your leaping knees to chest, and I've always been that guy, Ronnie. I've been the spring guy, but it was great to be with a young fucking stud that you made me go faster and harder, my man.
My
And,
buddy calls me. My buddy Josh calls me Rudy from Wish. From Wish.
Awesome, brother. You're gonna take it further, baby. And we were kicking it at what? How long ago, brother? We were at Diamond Dallas Pages. You went to Diamond Dallas Page, and then we went to Kent at Life Med. And I'll tell you, the best part of this show for me is having Ronnie in my life. We get to do a lot of work together and spend a lot of time with each other's family. This last SHOT show was magnificent, and it's only going to get better. I just love seeing our people do well, and I couldn't be happier.
Thank you for being
So excited.
a friend.
That's right. I'm so sorry. Ronnie, we've been in New
Travel
York,
down
brother.
the
We've been
road and
everywhere,
back
brother.
again.
We've been everywhere.
One
Hey,
day y'all
David-
might be lucky enough to get your intro attached to the Golden Girls theme song.
I'm into it.
I would love it, brother. Oh, definitely. I'm ready. This is not colored hair. I am starting to get a little gray. I am starting to, but yeah, I'm almost at that Golden Girl
God,
level.
his arms are the size of my legs.
Thanks,
Jesus.
dog. No, you got good thighs, dog. You got good
Thanks,
thighs,
buddy.
dog.
I mean, we've seen both of your thighs tonight, and they're all good. When Rudy was saying he could kick high, I was like, remember that you've got the silkies on.
Oh,
That's
yes,
fine.
They have a liner.
There's a liner.
They
There's a
have
liner in the
There's a
silkies, so it's
liner.
like not a problem.
There's a liner,
It's not a
dog.
problem. We're fine.
If we don't get a Silkies promo after this episode, I don't know what they're waiting on.
We're gonna get in the Silky business, Ronnie. You and I get our own brand of Silkies out there. We're gonna pay for our kids' college, son.
There you go. There it is. Oh my gosh, you guys. This has been so much fun.
It has been a blast.
I don't want to send you off. I want to just keep doing this for the next 3 hours. But you do have a new series premiering in 6 minutes. On the
Let's
History
go.
Channel.
Let's go.
Oh, I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful for you guys. And by the way, on the Instagrams and social media, and I'm sure Ronnie will reflect the same, you all have been reaching out and promoting, and it means the world to us. It really does, and we're faithful and loyal, and thank you for being the same to us. We're going to take this thing all the way. You want?
Yeah.
That's great.
It's a great show, and I have all the faith in the world that you will take it all the way, because I think that there is so much to unpack with what you guys cover and what you do, and obviously you've got the personalities to take it all the way. So
yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
ma'am.
we bring the best out of each other. I think we found that over the course of filming. It started very mentorship-esque. Rudy provided me a whole lot of mentorship, especially doing something I'm not used to. But now it's really turned into, he's one of my closest, if not, part of the family at this point.
Yes, sir.
I'm appreciative of you guys bringing us on, because there was a real heavy intent on making sure that we did this well out of the gate. Nothing is perfect. It's important to note that nothing is perfect. But what happens is we're able to improve, and the way Rudy and I approach, our work each day is purposeful, dedicated self-improvement every day. And in the process of that, we work to improve anything that we're working on. So I'm hoping that for those that watch the show tonight, I hope everybody that's watching this does, especially, it's important for folks to understand that it's only going to get better from here. We can only improve it from here, because there is no step back. It's always forward.
That's right. That's right, Ronnie. You nailed it, brother. You nailed it. We were improving as we were shooting, and in the last 2 years that we've had together in other spheres and aspects of our profession and our personal life, it's only gotten better. Ronnie has inspired me with my fitness too, because I am getting older, and for the first time, I'm getting a bit domesticated. I've got a wonderful young wife that loves to cook, and I finally have a home base, because I've always been mission dependent and going forward. Now I'm becoming more three-dimensional, and with that comfort becomes comfort slows you down, and then seeing Ronnie out there with a newborn still getting after it, I think of him every day when I'm pushing myself. And that physicality and the martial art and the military, that's the same passion we bring to this show. And we've got a lot more to give. So you guys just put those butts in seats and you get the word out there. And I guarantee you, history will commission another season, if not another 5.
Yes, absolutely. And right back at you guys. Thank you so much for promoting our show and coming on with us. We feel very, very lucky to be the ones that get to help you launch this into the stratosphere. So thank you for joining us. Ronnie with baby number 3, speaking from experience. Buckle up, Buttercup.
Oh, we're good.
Number
We're
3
good.
puts you over the edge.
Yeah, we're good. Resilience throughout the household.
Wonderful.
That's
All
the
right,
one
well,
you just kick out the door on the way to preschool. See ya.
She's fine.
Wouldn't want to be you. We'll see you later. Late pickup.
Thanks for
folks.
having us, guys. This was awesome.
Thank
Oh,
you.
it was
Thank
great.
you so much.
We appreciate y'all. Shout out to listener Mosen for the super chat. Thank you. We appreciate you.
Thank you all. Thank you all. We'll be in touch for follow-ons, okay?
yes, please.
Sounds great.
Everybody go tune into the History Channel and check out the
Right
proof
now.
is out there, Military Mysteries with these two guys. Now you know what you're in for. You don't want to miss it. Tim, I'm going to send it over to you for final thoughts.
Yep, I got 10 seconds here. As we close this chapter on this journey through the enigmatic world of military mysteries, I'm reminded that sometimes amidst the chaos of the unknown, we can find solace in the quiet of the woods and in the vast expanse of the sky above. The truth is still out there, folks, and it's in those moments of introspection. While we may not find Bigfoot and we may not see a UFO, we might just find ourselves. Smitty.
Wow.
thank you so much for your service to this country. And
Thank you.
I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And be happy, be strange, listen to All Things Unexplained, and make sure to turn in the History Channel right now.
There we go. Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
All Things Unexplained.
What's your hot take on Travis Taylor?
I've got an exclusive for you guys if you want it about the Alaska.
We do.
Okay.
Dr. Taylor was revealed to be the chief scientist of the UAP task force with the Pentagon.
So some of that, I think, sir, will save for closed session.